Well, hello. Um, where, good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, wherever in the world you are tuning into us, either to do it live or on a replay. And I have the um, uh, um, special um, special oh shoot it's a fun uh, sometimes when I'm doing this live I really get tongue twisted and but anyways I have a special guest with us and I'm going to tell him he's going to tell you about a little bit about his story, but will you please welcome Drew Clayborn? Hi, Drew.
Hey Brent, how's it going?
Oh, it's going to awesome. And
Yeah.
I I have a connection with you through our church, and so I have a little bit of a um familiarity, but I assume that maybe someone has turned on for the first time, and they would wonder, huh, what is this all about?
Yeah, so uh just to tell you a little bit about my story. So I am a C1, C2 quadriplegic. Back in 2010, I was a sophomore in high school and I was learning how to do a backflip for the musical. And uh, me and some friends were who also were learning to do a backflip. We were goofing around in the hallway and waiting at my sister's locker actually. Uh, and we were like goofing around and stuff, and then uh, thought we'd do some backflips. And I I can remember my one friend was about to do it, and he like chickened out. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I went to go do it, and then the bell rang, and everybody started coming out of the classes. So the hallway started getting crowded. So the area got a little smaller, and part of me was like, okay, I'll just do it really quick. And then I don't know. The last thought I remember was I told myself, uh, uh, "What's the worst that can happen? Just jump." So I jumped, and about a week later, woke up in the hospital.
Wow, that's
And
incredible. Um,
yeah,
um,
yeah, but then after my injury, we stayed really strong. I was able to be strong, and it was really hectic. I was in the hospital for about 3.5 months, uh, just trying to learn everything about paralysis. I was blessed to be at a really good hospital at U of M. I was in U of M Mott, CS Mott, the Children's Hospital, and they had a really good teaching program, and I was able to do. They had classes for independent living and how to be independent after a spinal cord injury. They had a lot of resources as far as learning about being on a ventilator and having a trach and things like that. So I was really lucky in that way. So I got home about 3.5 months later, which was a whole nother story. Our church that we go to, we had a lot of volunteers and donations. People committed a lot of time to renovating our house in time for me to come home from the hospital, which was really awesome. And then once I
wow.
got home, I was able to continue high school right away. So my accident happened in March, and then I was back in school by September, and or yeah, September. Yep. And I was also continued in the marching band. Before my accident, I played tuba, and then after my accident, they set up this like MIDI controller, like a keyboard for me to use the keys with a mouth stick, and I did that the next 2 years, my junior and senior year, and we actually won states both my junior and senior year. So that was awesome.
Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Ye It
um,
was a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and by my senior year, I had a leadership role in my section, and it was I really took it by the reins and was able to like I went to every practice, and I just like was more defiant towards my injury, and I uh, told myself I would be at every practice, every rehearsal. I went to band camp. I went to everything, and yeah, the rest is history.
wow. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, your injury to, took place 2 months after the strokes. I
Oh,
experienced
really?
the stroke, so we're sort
Oh,
of like
wow.
um, uh, tandem uh, because
Yeah.
um, I was doing. Um, I also had to relearn and would have to um, uh, understand my life uh,
Right.
was very much changed, just like years.
Yeah. Totally. Oh man. Yeah.
And I
Um,
imagine you've had your share of challenges this- through
oh yeah.
the 14 years. Is it anyone that
Of course.
stands out?
Well, yeah, because we're coming up on 14 years. And yeah, I guess challenges that stand out to me. And it's hard because I don't know, every challenge I've come across, we really get blessed. We really get lucky. And just how much fortitude I have to really push through things, how much fortitude my dad and my stepmom have to really push through circumstances. Uh, as far as challenges, uh, well, I guess one of the one of the big challenges early on after my injury was figuring out how to keep my body healthy and keep my body strong. And it just so happened, like I said, we've been very blessed. My dad attended a seminar, and at the seminar, he met Phil Muccio, who runs Axio Bionics. And Axio Bionics is a company that creates this wearable. It's called wearable therapy, and it's like a garment that I put on, and it electric stims my entire body. So that's something I do for about 4 or 5 hours every single night for the last 13 years. And we came across that about a year after my injury was when I got started on it. So my body and my nerves were still responsive, and we just created a routine where we do about 4 or 5 hours of therapy every day. And that has done a really good job to keep my body strong. I have no muscle atrophy, no bone density loss, no uh, ailments there, no, and no muscle atrophy is huge, and no pressure sores as well because I have a lot of muscle still, so I can sit in my chair all day and my butt is safe, and all my body, my skin is really good and really intact. So that
Wow,
part's good.
Drew. It's
But
funny.
that, yeah.
It's um, I didn't have a interview, but one of the because I'm a
Mhm.
veterinarian, and so I my life before was very much involved with
Mm,
veterinary medicine, and one of the
mm,
men who was the CEO of one of the suppliers, he basically, anyways, his name is John, and uh,
mhm,
approximately. Um, Almost 10 years ago, he had a biking accident and he has a
mm,
similar injury as you have. And
Yeah.
he had talked about the 7 henchmen he has to deal with every day, and,
Mm,
I suspect that they are, very, true what you have to deal with.
yeah.
But
What's his 7?
excuse
Or
me?
what do you mean by that? What's
Well,
the
um, for example, he says, the bladder is one of the 10 or 7 henchmen. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
the skin, because you mentioned you have to be careful,
Yeah.
uh, and you have to keep your skin intact. And so
Right.
he went through all 7, and I imagine
Mm,
you
mhm.
everything we often
Right.
take for granted, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I have to be on top of my game 24/7 all the time because just that quickly something an infection can form or something can happen to my body. Yeah, we really have to stay on top of it.
Yes, and I love Drew, your attitude.
Mhm.
Uh, was was the attitude so well formed before the accident, or have you blossomed, so to
Uh,
speak?
yes and no. I would say so. So like right before my accident, I I don't know. I always had the mentality that I I would push through. So like uh I was in marching band, but I also played football. I was the quarterback on the football team.
Oh,
And I did both. So like football and marching band are at the same time. So literally every single day I would get out of school, go to football practice, leave football practice, go to marching band, do marching band till about 6, 7 o'clock. It would be dark sometimes when we got out of marching band practice. I'd go home and either go right to sleep and then get up at 2 a.m. and do my homework, or I would try to do my homework that night. Uh, and I would do that every day. So yeah, I always had a pretty strong attitude, a pretty strong mentality that I felt like I could do anything and conquer anything and make sure whatever it was, whatever task I had in front of me that I wanted to accomplish, I knew that I could.
that's incredible. Um,
Mhm.
and I suspect maybe it's it was really good. You had um, the ingredients, uh, so it allowed you to take on uh, those consequences of your accident.
Right. Well, I would say I also had a really good example as well. If you know my dad's a force. My dad is Superman. He, yeah, it's so funny. He's taken on, he just became a mortgage lender in the last 3 years, which it turned out to be the worst time to become a mortgage lender, and he's pushing through, and he's still fighting, and he's staying in the business while a lot of people are falling off. And literally right now, he just finished working and he's gonna drive to Chicago to do a realtor conference and then drive back tonight to be
Wow,
back in the morning. And it's, yeah, yeah, I have a really strong role model in my dad because I know he has really fought, and I've watched that example my entire life, and that's really been he's
that's
my hero.
beautiful.
He's my example that I can look at.
Oh, wow. Well,
Mhm.
um, I know that we talked about it a little briefly, but does any does any success stand out for you that you have
Uh,
enjoyed?
Absolutely. I would say my senior year, I mentioned really, I really like buckled down and knew that I wanted to accomplish something. And it was all with the goal of getting into the University of Michigan. And I was able to get all straight A's my senior year and get into U of M. And then once I was at U of M, I graduated as a math major. And math is one of the most difficult majors at the university, up there with engineering. So yeah, that's probably one of my greatest accomplishments.
Wow. Well, um, a lot of my audience doesn't realize, but University of
Mhm.
Michigan uh, really is a world leader in many areas, and so which Drew has
Oh
said.
yeah, time there. In my time there, it became not only the number one public university in the country, but also the number one disability university in the country. And that was a lot of like me and my friends were in student government and we were working towards making changes there. And the university was great because any changes we wanted to make, they were always about like, yes, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. And we put in procedures for kids in dorms. If like there's an emergency or whatever, they can call the fire department directly to know if it's actually serious, if they need to transfer out of bed or not, or did someone just burn popcorn, like uh, so stuff like that. Or if there was an emergency, you had a direct line because there was one year a pipe burst and there was like water burst and some kids almost drowned because they were disabled. So we created procedures where it was like you could call the fire department directly and let them know that you were in a wheelchair or that you're paralyzed or whatever disability you have, and they would prioritize you.
Excellent.
And
And
it was just a lot of different stuff like that. University of Michigan is definitely it's by far the best university in America, I would say.
well, it's wonderful that you um, um, found that they were very uh, amenable to making changes, uh, that you helped other that had a similar challenges with you.
Yep. And they were really like they put their money where their mouth was too, because like their mission while I was there was to renovate one dorm every year. So literally every year they would renovate one dorm that wasn't handicap accessible and make it handicap accessible, while also keeping the original architecture and aesthetic. And then there was a couple times, a couple summers, because my wheelchair is bigger and I'm bigger, they would have me come and do a walkthrough and make sure it was accessible for everybody.
Wow, it's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I would love to talk with you longer, but
Mhm.
I realize I want to um, honor your time. And is
Yeah.
there um, any last words you would say that the
Hmm.
my audience should be aware?
Uh, I guess the biggest thing right now I can really say to anybody and everyone is just no matter what circumstances you're in, no matter where you want to be, as long as you keep trying and keep putting yourself out there, staying in the flow of life, in this river of life that we are, like jump in the water, don't be afraid. And as long as you keep pushing, I promise things will work out in ways that you can never imagine.
Wow. Well, um, um, I love your attitude, and um, and like you said, we'll deal with today, and we all pray that we are still here tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. Our motto is push. Pray until something happens.
yes, yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
um, my audience, I thank Drew for this excellent interview, and remember, to your success.